Yesterday, I put out a poll. Which position group must elevate its play the most for LSU to succeed this fall? You had 4 options: defensive backs, running backs, offensive line, defensive line. It had 611 votes. Which one do we think, Matthew, won the vote?
I believe on the vote, I believe it'd be offensive line.
All right. Alondra?
O-line.
Tay-Tay?
I've seen it, so I know the answer.
Oh, boo.
Giving out
I
the
was
secret.
honest. I was honest about it.
I think it's O-line, and then in second, defensive back.
So I voted on that poll,
I did
and
too.
I took it too literal because you said raise your level of play, meaning raise your level of play from a year ago or exceed expectations.
I said elevate.
Because if you want elevate your play from a year ago, it's a defensive back all day long. Because offensive line was actually good last year.
No, I don't live in the past. I didn't put last year. I'm just talking about elevate their play from where they currently are right now.
Oh,
Offensive line.
all right. I misread the question then. Nobody really knows how they're doing right now, except for the coaches.
Yeah. Been out to a couple times.
Yeah, well,
It's the offensive line, guys.
that's the offensive line. I mean, I would say
here's the vote real quick. Defensive backs, 21.8% of the vote. Running backs, which I was a little surprised, 4.1% of the vote. There's some concerns behind Caden Durham at running back.
I think that's the thing, though. I think everybody's so high on Caden.
I mean, Caden's a very tough young man, played through a pretty painful injury last year, but still, like, behind him, like, there's 2 scholarship guys. So that's a little surprised he only got 4.1% of the vote. Defensive line got 11.9% of the vote. I think that tells you just how well Kyle Williams has done with these defensive tackles in a short period of time, because you felt good about the edge rushers already. It was the defensive tackles. So that's actually a pretty good sign. Offensive line, 62.2% of the vote.
It should be the only position you have a big question mark about right now. Like, I haven't been to practice this week. Unless something has drastically changed, the DBs are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
At least you have a healthy rotation. Like, O-line right now is a concern for me.
look, the vote comes off of the unknown for the offensive line. That's what the vote is. It's not like how it's worded or whatever. It's like, what's the biggest concern for you, because it's the biggest unknown, and that's offensive line. Like, defensive backs. Is it an unknown because we haven't really seen the new people play? Yes, that's a big unknown. But it's easier to watch and judge defensive back play in training camp than it is offensive line. Like, it's hard to just sit there and judge how an offensive line
Without watching the film.
Without watching the film. Like, it's hard to see it from the view, like a field level view. It's hard to really see who's actually playing well. I mean, you can see who's physically dominant in like one-on-ones and half line, things like that. But you really don't know who's like nailing their assignments. Like, we watched that clip of the Saints the other day. Everybody did their assignment except for
Cesar Ruiz.
And it wasn't a physical thing. It was a mental thing.
Yep.
Those are the types of mistakes that you can't see from a field level just watching it one time when you're going to evaluate practice. But you can certainly evaluate a DB that's flying around, batting down balls, covering people up, making the right run fits, intercept a pass. That's easy to see. So I think with the reports coming out from training camp, there's not as big of an unknown. I think everybody's pretty common consensus that we are so much more improved from last year. Now, the offensive line, we don't know because we don't know. Like you don't know what you don't know, and that's what we will find out. But we're not going to find out as a fan base or as media. We're not going to find out till game 1.
That's actually a really good point by you, and I don't say that very often. It is a really good point by you, because you're right about, like, that is a position where you do have to get the end zone copy.
Yep.
I want to see, like, is it angles? Is it assignment? Because when we broke down Cesar Ruiz missing it, like, initially I was like, man, what was he doing with, like, there was no kick step, and there wasn't, but it was because of a mental error. It wasn't just like that's his
eyes
technique.
were wrong. His eyes were wrong.
His eyes were in the wrong place. Everybody else was doing the right thing. Great job by the running back. Incredible job by the center coming back and helping clean up. It was the right guard. He was looking in the wrong place. Then his footwork turned to trash, and he messed up. Those are the things that you're talking about. And right now, it's tough to. Is it physically? Is it mentally? Is it both?
Yep.
Like, those are the things on the offensive line that you got to go. You got to watch the end zone copy of it. If you're watching one-on-ones and you're giving a practice report based off that, you're doing it wrong. I'm just telling you.
Yep.
From experience, because one-on-ones for receivers versus DBs, that's a receiver drill. For D-line versus O-line, it's a D-line drill. For backers versus running backs, that's a linebacker drill. Now, like routes on air, backs on backers, that's a running back drill. Like it's pretty easy for me to win one-on-one with the backer, routes on, one-on-one routes.
Yep.
But for pass protection, because it's not game-like, he's going to have a little bit of advantage. I would say 65-35.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you're basing it off, like, the one-on-one drills that they do in camp, I'm not saying they're not important.
They're very important. They're extremely important.
But you can't base how the group is playing together based off that.
Yep.
Like, the offensive line, I do think it needs to trend in a different direction. Now, the surprise has been, like, it's the tackles on the days that I've gone that have played really well.
Yep.
It's the interior guys where you actually have some guys that have played that are struggling a little bit right now. Center position's doing pretty good. But don't base your kind of viewpoint on the offensive line based off one-on-ones.
Well, it's a lot of new guys rotating in, and a lot of the issues you see, especially early in camp, are normal with new positions and new personnel of the offensive line, because most of it, like we just laid out, is mental. It's their eyes were wrong. They misread. They made a bad mic call. They made a bad kick step because they were looking at the wrong thing. They had the wrong cues or the wrong keys that they were looking at the defense on. And in the center and the guard positions is a little bit more, because there's a lot more passing off interior than there is for the tackles. We always got, like a coach always laid out, like the center has the football. The closer you are to the ball, the more mental the game is. Like the more higher football IQ you have to have. And that's anything. The farther away you are from the ball, the less football IQ you really have to have, because so the guard and center and the quarterback are the closest to the ball. Those are the guys that have to have the highest football IQ. They have to do the most mentally, the most, and tackles a little bit less, because it's a lot more one-on-one. Now, of course, everybody has to have a high football IQ, but it's just a little bit more the closer you get to the ball. So, it makes sense to me that, like, if we get in a team drill or 2-minute drill, that there's going to be sacks, and it's like, oh my God, this guy just got beat. Well, why did he get beat? Yeah. Why did he make a wrong step because he was looking strong side and he should have been looking weak side? Was it a bad mic call? Like a lot of those things work out, and you flush those things out, and the line gets better and better mentally, and the more comfortable they are within the system, working together, making those reads, cutting out mental mistakes, mental errors, slow decisions, and they just start pulling the trigger and working together. I would see this offensive line getting better and better and better.
Real quick, because I know we got our guy, the General, Bobby Carpenter, joining us. Someone was asking, why is one-on-ones a defensive drill? Because it's not realistic. So if I'm a left guard and I've got a 3 technique, so I've got a defensive tackle outside shade of me, all right, and we're doing one-on-ones, okay, he's got so much more room to work with than he actually would in a game. And we always talk about this, like at guard, I've got 2 body guards. I've got a tackle and I've got a center next to me, and it is a phone booth. But when you're doing one-on-ones, I mean, look, he can go all the way up the field around you, where in a game he's running into a tackle. There's just a lot more space. And so the offensive line, like working together in unison, that's why it's so important. Because, like, it's just the same thing we talk about in punt protection all the time. Like, use your guard, use your tackle, use your guys next to you, right, for that spacing. Close the space, make it a tight space. And so, like, a center in one-on-ones, like, he's never going to have
on an
4
island,
feet
right?
on each side on an island. It's just not going to happen.
He will sometimes, but like
very
few.
rarely. If a defense does something where they're trying to attack a center, and you might have 2 guys that go to the outside right now, and you send like a backer straight down the middle to try to have a better athlete on the center. Like, that happens, but very rarely. Same thing, when it comes to pass protection, backs on backers. Same thing for me. Like, if I'm running routes against backers, I've got so much room. There's no offensive line there. I can kind of insert wherever and go run a route. That linebacker, if he covers you, you're just a bad football player as a running back. Like, because there's more room than there ever would be before. So it's a great tool. It's a great asset.
Yeah.
Because it puts you in the most difficult situations, but it's not something you can base how a unit is going to play together off of.
And then, like, in pass rush, offensive line, let's just say tackles versus defense. When is the offensive lineman at a disadvantage in a game when it's an obvious passing down situation. When the defensive end knows it's a pass and all he's got to do is pin his ears back, make a move, swim him, pull him, whatever he wants to do. Well, in one-on-ones, it's like every time it's like I'm rushing a quarterback like it's passed. So it's just that it puts him in a very stressful situation. But it's great for the offensive lineman to learn and get their physical skill like that. But you can't judge how a guy's playing in camp based on that.